What's up, everyone? Thanks for coming back for Season 2 of Beacon. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify at Beacon, on YouTube at Beacon Pod, and at Beacon Pod Tweets on X, formerly Twitter, the Bird app. We're back, and boy, do we have a show today, boys. Say hello, you bunch of beauties.
What's up?
Let's go!
Was there something that broke lately? Was there a tree? Oh, I know what it was.
Yeah, my knee.
Honestly, same. That happened to me too.
Yeah,
I know. I think Seth Warby nailed it. The Penguins' long pursuit of Rem Pitlick finally ends. They got their guy.
They got younger.
Hey, what did I say? What did I say in my slideshow? Rem Pitlick was coming to Pittsburgh via trade that definitely involved some asset.
Hey, we got younger. That's all that matters. We didn't get older in a trade.
That's a little segment we like to call Crystal Ball from our man Chris Lantz, because he did predict that, and he might be right about Thomas Tatar too, because Thomas Tatar is potentially going to be signed here.
Heavy rumored too.
Hell yeah!
Now, before we get to the show, I want to take my lap of roses here. So, on August 2nd at 11 in the morning, your boy Connected tweeted this out. Penguins update. Granlund buyout comes Saturday by the evening. I was wrong about that. We'll get to that in a second. ERIK Karlsson will be completed within 72 hours, or not at all, of that buyout window opening, which opened on Saturday. Prospects could, but do not have to include O'Connor, Poulin, or Pojo, as the other teams weren't interested in Ty Smith. Expect the Penguins to begin training camp with 3 goalies. And Dark Horse front office candidate gets hired as well. Had some back and forth online for this. Dark Horse FO candidate, I consider Kyle Dubas naming himself the GM after saying he'd be looking for one in Dark Horse. On top of that, we get Trevor Daley and Amanda Kessel and special advisor to the GM roles. So your boy nailed that one. You got the biggest part of it, because we got ERIK Karlsson, which we're going to talk about in a second. Did not get the Granlund buyout, because who could have foreseen that? But what did I say? Got ERIK Karlsson within 72 hours. So let's say it all collectively here. On a count of 3. Ready? ERIK Karlsson is the Pittsburgh Penguin on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
ERIK Karlsson is a
Penguin!
That's going to be so blown out. Absolutely blown out there. I can't wait.
We have a trade to announce after an off-season of absolutely devastating proportions of just waiting. The Pittsburgh Penguins have acquired ERIK Karlsson, Rem Pitlick, Dylan Hameliuk, which is a forward prospect, 2016 third-round draft pick from San Jose. In exchange, we give up a 2024 first-round pick, protected top 10, could slide to 2025, Mikael Granlund, boo hiss, Jan Ruda. We also give up a 2025 second-round pick, Jeff Petrie, Casey DeSmith, and Nathan Legare. And additionally, the trade looks like San Jose gets our first, Granlund, Ruda, and Hoffman. Montreal, the third-party team that facilitated it, gets the second-round pick, Petrie, with 1.25 retained, Casey DeSmith, and Nathan Legare. Gentlemen.
I think that it might be pronounced Legere, but I'm just a goof.
I met the guy, and I still have no idea how to say it, but he was a nice guy.
Sure he is.
Guy, ERIK Karlsson. I was in Pittsburgh eating lunch at a place called Tupelo Hunting, really good spot if you're in Pitt. Phenomenal mac and cheese. And, not a sponsor. And I saw it break, and I'm like, fuck, ERIK Karlsson is a Pittsburgh Penguin.
I was at Dim Sim, all right, with my family, and started going crazy in Dim Sim as they're bringing over the rice noodles, all right? Like, I was going absolutely insane.
I was playing some Halo 4 mission where you have to fly around a month. So it's like, oh, why is the Snapchat blowing up? We just finished this and I'll get in on it, everybody.
Crashed into a wall a couple times.
I was hanging out with my family. I'm like, why is everyone talking in the chat? We don't record until later. I'm like, oh shit.
Because I was just telling my sister at breakfast that was like, here are our show notes because we put it off a week, so we didn't have a whole lot to talk about, and then, a couple things happened this week that we could talk about, And I said, but there was a little disclaimer at the bottom that said, if a deal happens, abandon everything.
Basically.
Yeah, that was our pull shoot in emergency. And I just wanted to highlight before we get into the heart of the deal. We all talked about the Granlund contract back when he basically said, I thought I did pretty good, and we roasted it.
Yeah.
So this tweet comes from Shing Peng. It was from Granlund's transcription. I'm confident I could do much more than I did in Pittsburgh. And from Stone Cold Sid on Twitter, he couldn't do much less. So
he's not wrong.
Yikes.
Yeah, no, that is a banger of a tweet. And all right, well, let's just get into it. Eric, so our show notes for today we're gonna do standings. We were gonna do a 32 team wraparound. All of that got kicked out the window when EK came over. So today we're gonna be talking about a couple things. Namely, we're gonna be going over the trade itself, talking about it from the three teams' perspective, how the Pens got it done in the first place, what it means for the Penguins' last dance. I wish I would have worn my shirt today. It's in the wash. And we're gonna be going about Sid's birthday. It is the captain's birthday. We got to touch upon that, and of course, we got some awesome trivia today. Welcome to season 2, boys. Happy to be back. So, just gonna go around the horn here. Mr. Chris Lawrence, you were hard at work editing our videos. Give us your opinion on the Erik Karlsson deal. What are your thoughts?
I mean, obviously, I was really happy when I first saw it. The euphoria didn't wear off in 24 hours, not even in 36 hours. I'm still thrilled about it. We'll talk about it ad nauseum, but getting rid of Granlund, getting rid of Petrie, getting rid of DeSmith and Ruda even, they might not have been huge cap hits, but they were, grossly overpaid for what they had to do. So just to get rid of all that and then still end up with $3 million more than we had before. Yeah, we still have to clear $79,000, but that's chump change to lose $3 million and get a player that is a Norris winner, 100-point defenseman, just coming off that 100-point season. That's offensive minded, and he doesn't even have to be on the top pair. I mean, Chris Letang finally has somebody that he can share the minutes of each game with, which is only going to help his game. That top power play unit's going to be absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, I loved every bit of it.
Awesome. Let's go to our second hardest working person on this show, Zack Benoit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Chris. Is the defense, did it take a hit? Like just playing hard defense? Yeah, it did. But the thing about this team is that the offense and, like you said, the power play got extremely better. No disrespect to Chris Letang, because he's a phenomenal player. He's gonna go down as probably one of the greats. But he didn't know, he wasn't that strong when it came to quarterbacking the power play. And Erik Karlsson, he can do that. You've already touched on it. They got rid of some heavy contracts that Hextall brought in, and I think that was the thing that had a lot of people extremely excited, just because we don't have to sit through another season of Granlund, don't have to sit through another season of, I'm already forgetting who else is in the trade because they're just gone, DeSmith. You don't have to go through another season of Jan Ruda, who wasn't bad, but with who we got in the offseason, I'm going to take Ryan Graves over Jan Ruda any day of the week. My biggest thing about the trade and what got me most excited was the fact that we didn't give up P.O. Joseph. We didn't give up Drew O'Connor. They didn't give up Pickering. They gave up the one prospect, but they still have a decent farm. It's not like they absolutely completely emptied the farm for Erik Karlsson. We still got was it Puustinen? We still got Puustinen, all right? But yeah, I'm so excited to see what this team can do. I think, yes, does the defense take a little bit of a hit, but you got Chad Ruhwedel, who's still just a gritty defenseman. You got Marcus Pettersson, who honestly plays a really good two-way game. Ryan Graves is kind of the same thing, plays a good two-way game, and then you have your two offensive guys in Letang and Karlsson. So I think they're one piece away in that bottom six from being a serious contender, but getting Karlsson instantly makes them playoff contenders again. To be cup contenders, one more bottom six piece, and I think that's the Thomas Tatar fit.
Yeah, I'll go next quickly because then we'll get Adam's perspective from the outside. But pretty much what you guys said already. The best part of it was it was basically a trade where it was, you take all of our bad things, we'll take your good thing. Got rid of Jeff Petrie, and then not to say Jeff Petrie is bad. I want to make sure we rate this. Jeff Petrie is a really solid piece. He's going to be great for Montreal. He's cheaper, and he's going to be a vet who they could flip if they need to. Jan Ruda, not a bad piece. Overpaid. Didn't kill us, but wasn't great for us. I mean, Mikael Granlund speaks for himself, but getting rid of those three guys without a single buyout is, first of all, incredible. Retaining a small amount of Petrie does not matter. And then you also get rid of Casey DeSmith, who just was an overpaid, league average kind of backup, who still had his own injury issues. Really, it just seems like a masterstroke. And I genuinely don't know how we got away with protecting that first-round pick, because it seems like the only thing that would save that trade from being like a disaster for San Jose down the line is if that was a first overall pick or something. But in general, phenomenal trade. Like Chris had said already too, it kind of alleviates Letang's on the back end. As him and Karlsson age, now instead of overworking them both on two different teams, you get this nice little combo where Letang's going to play a little less, Karlsson's less, and they're going to age more gracefully. They're going to have, hopefully, less health-related issues, and they'll be able to take over the game in a way that they weren't able to do separately. I love it. Adam?
I would say I have the whole trade here. As you guys have been talking, I've just been looking at the trade on my phone. If you can't, it's not going to focus, but that's fine. I'm just looking at the trade, and I wanted to look at it from the other teams first, since I'm not the Penguins' perspective in almost all things. I like what Montreal gets for just facilitating this. As a facilitator in a trade, they gave up one thing, Mike Hoffman.
Two.
They got four things. Well, technically, yeah, whatever. They get Pitlick and Hoffman. Thank you. You corrected me, because I was looking at the San Jose part. And they got four things in return, and it was all from Pittsburgh, so that was interesting. I like Petrie for Montreal. DeSmith is just a backup to have behind whoever the heck else is there in Montreal. And they get a second-round pick out of just being a facilitator and cap dump in a trade. San Jose, I like their return for a guy that you knew wasn't going to play for you next year. Whenever you can get any kind of return for a guy who flat out said he is not playing for your team anymore in the future, that's a win in and of itself. And they got a first round. And as much as you guys bash Granlund, I don't like the guy either. He's a player on one of the bottom 5 teams in the NHL. He's better than the fourth line in Chicago last season. So there's that. Whether you want to argue with me or not. Hoffman's a guy that they can flip if they need to for assets in the future, deadline-wise. And Jan Ruda is a guy that they can have play in the squad or flip if they need to in the future. In the Pittsburgh's perspective, I like that they were able to get that cap away. I think the biggest thing that's my takeaway from this trade is that you were able to get Karlsson and not have to eat up your own buyouts or take on all of that cap. As much as Karlsson is a top offensive defenseman in the league, I'm skeptical if he's going to do anything remotely close to that 100 points again. The high-end ceiling on what he can do for Pittsburgh is through the roof. Having an imaginary power play or even an imaginary line on the ice at one time of Jake Gensel, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Erik Karlsson and Chris Letang is disgusting, even though all of those players minus Gensel are over the age of 32. That's disgusting. That's a top tier line, even with their guys' age. So it is Dubas's like stamp on the organization already. And the fact that he's set up this trade with signings that he did before, this trade probably doesn't happen nearly as easily if they don't have Alex Nedeljkovic in the system to justify getting rid of Casey DeSmith and other signings like Ryan Graves. I love Ryan Graves from Colorado. You guys are going to love him. Imagine him on a D pair with Erik Karlsson. That's going to be gross in the best way possible. And I don't think you see this trade happen nearly as easily if Dubas doesn't get the free agencies signings that he did earlier this year.
Couldn't agree more.
100%.
I just want to say, I think the underrated thing was getting Rem Pitlick. Like,
yeah, I like Pitlick.
26 years old, And I was looking, I can't remember who posted it, but there's one guy on Twitter that broke down the trade extremely well. And he was showing Pitlick's stats, and he has 71% finishing. It's like, imagine him on a line with Crosby. Hell, even with Malkin. Like, if you throw him on that second line with Malkin just to fill in and have Riley Smith on the first, like, that's still really good. Like, you have a guy that's 26 years old who can just be a good player beside Crosby or Malkin. So I think it was just like a really quiet addition, adding him coming back to Pittsburgh.
I think the gift you get is what you didn't lose, and I really like that we didn't give any of our top prospects. We didn't lose Owen Pickering, Brandon Yeager, even lower end ones like Drew O'Connor, somebody with a little bit of chance of making the NHL like Sam Poulin. I mean, Pustonen, you keep your defense. You're going to give up Joel Blomqvist, which is really nice. So it's a smash hit, and we'll just parlay this conversation. So I did want us to go over the three teams' perspective. Adam really kind of kicked us off here. So just going around the horn, I'll go first. For the Pens grade, I'm going to give them an A+. Chris, you want to go next?
Penguins, I'll give an A. The only reason it's not an A+ is I think because of retaining some of Petry's contract. That's really the only thing I didn't like, was retaining some of that salary. But it goes for another year, so it's really not terrible. It'll be, forgotten about in a cap adjustment next year. As far as San Jose goes, my gut wants to say like a B because of who they got back. I understand that they're going for a rebuild and they'll at least be respectable, but I don't know. And then Montreal, again, give them an A. They get back a guy at a lower salary than they gave him away. DeSmith is probably a better goalie than some of the people they started last year. He's not going to be their starter, but he is going to be a backup to help a younger starter get a better footing. And then that Legare revival project, I think of players like Caulfield, Suzuki, and Paling. Montreal seems to be able to do well with young players, so I'm hoping that Legare can get back to where he was supposed to be. Because I remember him being a more highly spouted prospect, or highly touted prospect. So, I hope that works out for him especially. But overall, everybody got a good passing grade all around.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Yeah, all I was gonna say, like, Pittsburgh to me, including even taking away that or taking on some of Petry's contract, I still think they get an A+, just because they've bolstered their line. They add in a guy who's gonna make an immediate impact with this three-headed dragon. But you also snuck in the addition of Pitlick, which I'm going to keep talking highly on it because I actually really like it. Because you get a guy who's 26. I would probably give San Jose a B. Anytime you can get a first round pick, it's good. Like, it's not a bad thing. So, like, it can't be anything lower than a B. I think you could have gotten more, and I think San Jose should have pushed for a little bit more. Obviously, they were put into a tough situation because of how big his contract actually was, so it's a little bit understandable. But, like, you could have pushed for a little bit more, and if you were going full rebuild mode, you could have eaten a little bit more of his contract, in my opinion. Montreal, I give them an A. I think just for being that third throw-in team of, like, hey, help us out here with the cap situation. They get it pretty good because they get Jeff Petry, again, some money paid back. I think he's only owed roughly around 2.3 or 2.2 from Montreal if they keep him, and then also if they flip him, that's how much he's owed. So I mean, either they get the Jeff Petry that played in Montreal all those years ago that was really, really good, or they get the Jeff Petry that forgot how to play hockey with Pittsburgh. So it's like, either or, I think they come away as a win. I agree with the point. The prospect that Pittsburgh sent over, work on him. It's a project. Why not? They already have their young core, but, if he can pan out to at least, like, a middle six guy, like, that'd be pretty good for them. And again, they got a second-round pick. So I think they get an A, Pittsburgh A+, and then I'd give San Jose a B because I feel like you could have just stolen a little bit more.
Yeah, and one of the things that I didn't touch on in my grade with San Jose, and you kind of did, was, again, this was an $11.5 million player, and you only had to retain 1.5 to give him away. That's also really good for San Jose.
Adam, you want to go next?
Now, I will say in a counter, I'm going to go in reverse a little bit. For San Jose, I like what they did. They didn't retain too much, but at the same time, you can't ask them to retain too much because even with the projected cap increase, KARLSSON's deal lasts longer than the retained salary for any of the other players involved. Like, I immediately after the trade broke down, I watched like the 7.5 minute video that Steve Dangle released on an immediate analysis, and he put it greatly that yes, they retain 1.5 of KARLSSON, but he lasts longer anyway, so he would have been more detrimental to eat up more cap, even to make the deal done. Even if it's a 2.5, it's 2.5 for 4 more years because he has 4 more years left on his deal, as opposed to Granlund or Petrie or anyone else involved in this trade, that their caps, even if they don't pan out for their teams, are wiped out of their cap almost immediately in comparison, where the longest is like, 2 years? Compared to the full KARLSSON deal, which is $10 million now in Pittsburgh's books, which even with an upgraded cap hit next year is a lot. With that being said, though, for San Jose, I don't really think whenever your star players are asking for a trade and you are backed into a corner, you are, every day that the trade doesn't happen, you are losing more value on the trade you're going to get. So with that being said, they were able to get out of this trade. They were basically able to get 4 things out of this trade for 3 assets that weren't going to be with you anyway. You basically flipped a 3rd-round pick for a 1st-round pick, which is always good. You got 3 players who are going to be in your squad most likely. Whether they're going to be good or not, they're going to be fielding an NHL-level squad with these 3 players. And you really didn't give up too much more outside of that, what you had to. So I'm going to give San Jose like a B+, a low A. I'm kind of torn between the two, but I'm going to designate it on B+. Montreal, anyone who facilitates a trade, they gave up 2 pieces that were not necessarily working out for them. And they got 4 things in return. You got a 2nd-round pick. You got a return of Jeff Petrie. You got Casey DeSmith, who's better than half the goalies that played a game for them last year. And you got a potential prospect for you. I give them an A. It's easy said and done. For Pittsburgh's side, I don't like that you gave up 7 things. I never like when there's just a long list of things that you give up in trades, because there's a lot of room for things to go wrong. But it's still Erik Karlsson, so I don't think I can give it anything lower than an A-.
All right. I'll give my grades. So I'll start with Pittsburgh. I kind of already said my piece, but the way I look at it is you got Erik Karlsson, you got the best player in the deal. That's step 1 towards an A. You didn't give anything of value for your prospects, and you have a protection on your draft pick. That's step 2. And the biggest thing for me about Pittsburgh is that you were able to shed cap with a minor retainment, and you didn't have to buy out the 2 players you thought you might have to. So you end up with cap savings. I do give it an A+. I'm willing to grade it down to about an A just because of the retention, but between an A+. Going to the second part of the deal, Montreal, as Adam said, when you facilitate a trade, anything you get back for facilitating it is an instant win. I think Kent Hughes did a phenomenal job here, jumping in, seeing an opportunity. You get Jeff Petrie, who's a veteran who knows your system and can help your young guys. You've got a goalie in Casey DeSmith, who's going to be your 3rd string, but is there for injury behind Sam Montembeault and not Sam Montembeault. I can't think of the goalie's name. He's the young guy, and Jake Allen. So you've got those 2. Keenan Primo, and then you got Nathan Legare, who goes. I could see him working out well with Montreal. He is a French guy. I could see him fitting in well with the culture there. He's from there. Maybe it's that hometown cooking. And you get a 2nd-round draft pick. I mean, for nothing, for essentially being the 3rd team in, being the loan of the bank, basically. So I'm going to give Montreal a solid A-. I wouldn't give it an A+ just because it didn't get anything of super value, but they didn't really give up anything of value, and they kind of rid themselves of Mike Hoffman. So
San Jose, Mike Hoffman's contract for biggest one, I think.
San Jose, I'm not going to be as critical as some people online. I know The Athletic basically gave it Pens A+, Montreal A, San Jose like a C. I'm going to give San Jose a C+, graded on a curve, maybe a B-, but somewhere in between the mushy middle. I'll go C+ for now. When you're back into a corner, you got to do it the best you can do. Mike Greer did the best he could do. It's a passable trade. The first-round pick is great no matter what you get. The protection, if you were willing to bite more cap off, you get a better draft pick. You might not. That protection goes away, but you didn't. You probably should have. Maybe you even get a better team involved. Maybe you get Carolina involved or something, but you weren't willing. I deduct points for that. And the counterpoint to the thing about retaining more salary, you're using your retention spot anyways. The cap's going up. You're not going to be spending to the ceiling for quite a long time, at least 5 years. It's not really going to matter if you use that extra $1 or $2 million to retention. That being said, they still retained. They get that draft pick. That's good. And Mikko Granlund, if I like Mikko Granlund for $1 million, maybe a couple $100,000, maybe 1.5. He's still a good playmaker. He really is. He's got nothing else. For $5 million, you ate that without any retention on that. That's kind of a net loss. He's a guy. He'll probably be your second best left wing. Jan Rud is a good guy in the locker room, good vet, knows how to win, probably keeps team culture up, and he's the thing you could flip at the deadline. And Mike Hoffman, he's one of the worst forwards in the NHL. He has scoring, and that's it. He doesn't play defense, he doesn't create offense, and he's not fast. Maybe you get a third-round pick from him at the deadline for a team who needs a fourth-line scorer. I'm going to give them a C+ just because I really don't love what they got, but it's certainly passable, better than they would have done in years past. And when you're trading from a position of weakness where your Norris Trophy winner tells you, I don't want to play for you anymore and I'm not going to, and also, by the way, I control my destiny, you're kind of stuck with what you can get. They're better off getting something for him now rather than waiting for every team that was going to be in to bow out. So that's my take on the trade. I think every team was passable.
Yeah, and you mentioned about what does this mean for the last dance in Pittsburgh, and the only thing I could think of for that was actually pretty simple. You know what the second best feeling in a hockey game is?
What's that?
Scoring goals.
Yeah.
And what is this top power play going to do? Score some goals. So you know what? Even if they don't go out and don't win a cup, because every year there's 32 teams competing for it, only one can do it. Even if they don't go out and do it, it should be a lot of fun to go out and watch the Penguins again. And that's what any of us can ask for, really, is we can just ask, hey, can you make the final years of this Core 3 fun?
Yeah, that's the biggest goal. Like, I remember watching the end, faintly, the end of Joe Sakic in Colorado. It was not really fun hockey. He got one last playoff series, and he scored the series clinching goal against Minnesota in 2007. And then they were just shit the last 2 years of Sakic's career. And it was even for me, who I was 10 or 11 when he retired in 2009, it was rough to watch.
I also don't I don't hate the addition for the fact I get KARLSSON's 33, but that's not this could just be me talking because again I follow baseball a lot, but 33, yeah, it's on the older side, but it's not to the point where oh, you're ancient. These are still probably the tail end of your the prime of your career.
Yeah,
that 33 to 35, I would say, is probably the prime end to your career. End of it.
Yeah, but it's also the thing of he's injury prone.
No, for sure.
If he gets one more bad injury, he's really toast. That's the main thing, and especially in a sport like hockey, where those physical hits and the physicality of the game, it's we get players who are consistently playing into their late 30s, early 40s now, but they're typically players who have somehow avoided the injury bug their entire career, aka look at Jágr, look at Ovechkin now. look at the players who are getting to the ends of the 30s. Even Crosby, even though the early parts of his career he was able to avoid major injury, he hasn't had anything detrimental. Like he hasn't had anything giant like groin, hamstring, anything like that can really affect your skating. It's mainly been like hands and head, which yes, head is super serious, but like it doesn't affect your capacity as of so far anyway. His capacity to skate, which is one of the big things that Crosby's been able to take care of. He's not the skater he was when he was 26 by any means, but he's learned how to be a skater at 36.
I'm going to kind of push back against the idea that EK is injury prone. He's had one significant injury in his whole career, and that was his blown out Achilles to Matt Cook, which gave him a leather strap on his foot. I mean, other than playing basically on a broken foot, the notion that he's an injury prone is not really a high one. It's really just been, I think Josh Yeo put it the best way. People talk about his defense, how he hasn't looked great in recent years. He's played for San Jose, who's been bad. He had no reason to defend. And he's not a good defender. There's no sugarcoating it. He also had no reason to try to be. But even with his bad defense, they were still a net zero with him on the ice. He directly led to 56 goals. So, injury prone, I don't know. I think it's just he got one bad injury, people associate with him with that.
It's hard to say that he's not injury prone when he hasn't played a full season since 2016 until this year.
How many NHL players have played a full season? How many games did he play the last 3 seasons combined?
The last 3 seasons, he played 56 in 2019, 2020. That's almost a full season. He missed about 10. For San Jose, 2020, 2021, he played 52. That's close to the full season that they did. He had 50 games last year out of 82. If you go before the bubble in 18-19, he had 53 out of an 82-game season. He had 71 out of an 82, which you could say is just like a 2-3 week-long injury. 77 out of 82, that's 2-week-long injury. Then he had 82, 82, 82 for 3 seasons in a row. Yeah. I would say he's not detrimentally injury prone that he's giving you 40 games a year, but when you're paying a guy $10 million and last year he played 50 games, he was getting paid 11.5 and played 50 out of 82 games. That I can still see being a concern. Now, can he keep the injury bug away? Like, yeah, sometimes you just need one full healthy season to get your body back up, and he never had that since 2015. So that can be huge for him having a full season this year. I'm just saying in general, I understand.
How many games did he play last year, by the way? Sorry, how many games did he play last year? This past season?
This past season, he went with 100 points. He played a full 82. The season before, he played 50.
I was gonna say I thought he played 50 and got 100. I was gonna still pretty good.
No. This season was the first 82-game season that Karlsson played since 15-16. 21-22, he played 50 games.
My only pushback to like the injuries and stuff like that, and what I've been seeing on Twitter, like people, there was a post where it's like, would you take the core 4 of the Penguins now or the core 4 of the Leafs? And I saw a lot of people being like, I would take the Leafs easily. And yeah, that's what I saw on Twitter, and like
maybe for a regular season game, the
pushback was that Crosby's no longer good and can't stay healthy. Malkin is no longer good, can't stay healthy. Letang is no longer good and can't stay healthy. That was the argument, but it's like 2 of those guys played 82 games last year. Crosby, I think he missed a week, missed 2 weeks maybe. Like
no, they played full 82.
Hey, did he play full 82?
Both played full 82.
I know Malkin played a full 82. Yeah. Was it Letang that missed time?
Yeah.
Okay, then it was Letang.
But with the stroke.
Yeah. So
and then his father passed away.
So like that's my whole thing. It's like injuries truthfully can happen to anybody. Like you can go look at Marner and Matthews right now. You can go look at Stamkos, Kucherov. Those guys can get injured and be out for the whole year. Or like those, and like it can derail. So it's like it like you said, Adam, it's hockey. Anybody can get hurt. It's a very physical sport. And it's like really if we're being honest, one more bad hit to Crosby's head, he's probably done because of the concussion history. One more thing done to like Malkin's legs, he's probably done because of that.
The only reason I brought up the injury bug is because it's stuff that we've talked about before with like your goaltending situation that you had in Pittsburgh. It's a valid thing to think about. Do I think it's going to be an issue? No, I definitely don't hope it's going to be an issue for Pittsburgh because the injury bug bites all the teams. Like we've seen so many squads that die because of the injury bug before playoffs, in the playoffs, in finals, all the time. It's just players do get the injury bug sometimes, and every team has them, and it sucks when it's your star players. It's just out of nowhere. Sure. I wouldn't be shocked. If KARLSSON played another full 82 game season next year. I also would not be shocked if he missed 20 games. No, he's just that type of player. He either gives you everything or he gives you 50 something, and that's looking at his stats from his career.
I also just want to jump in here. Leafs fans are fucking delusional. I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, if the argument right now is, would you take the Leafs core of Riley, Tavares, Marner, and Matthews, and Nylander?
I don't think it was Riley. I think it was more Nylander in the core forward.
I think it was the core forwards.
But whatever. Then would you take the core four of KARLSSON, Letang, Crosby, Malkin, and maybe Gensel and Nylander together? Whatever the case is, the 5 or the 4. Whatever your 4 is, whatever. Even now, I'm not being a homer about this. I would take the Penguins. You want to know why? First of all, we can fit them on our roster. Our that cap, good luck. Second of all, none of them get snake bitten. Sidney Crosby, Kenny Malkin, Crystal Tang, EK. They don't get snake bitten.
Except against Chicago.
No. But yeah, I would take, even now, even at 36 years old, I'm taking them because guess what? Our record against the Leafs is really good. So, win a playoff series. Win more than one playoff series.
Well, to be fair, since 2019 or something, the Leafs have actually won more playoff series than the Penguins, I think was the stat I read. Or something. Okay. It was something like that. They've won one.
Just look at somebody in Toronto and say 1967 and tell them to fuck off. That is it.
I'm pretty sure since I could be speaking out of pocket here, but I'm pretty sure since 2016, 15, however you want to look at it, we've won more playoff series than they have since 1967. So, at least in one playoff run.
Adam, what's the old Patrick Waugh quote? Sorry, I can't hear you. I've got the 2 Stanley Cup rings pointing both my ears.
I can hear you. I got the wings blocking my ears.
Yeah, but I honestly just, again, it's so funny. Just see when I read that on Twitter. I had to bring it up because when I saw it on Twitter, or sorry, X, it was very funny. It was very, very funny when I read that.
Yeah, and I brought it up in our group chat as well, but to try and talk about Sid and Gino being washed up, both of them, I mean, obviously Sid led the Penguins in points, and he beat out 5 other teams, best top scorer in the Metro. Yeah, and then Gino beat out 4 other teams, best scorer in the Metro, and he was even best scorer on our team, so...
Take this in. If Sid has another point per game season, he breaks a Gretzky record. Just take that in.
That Sid's washed up when he doesn't get a point per game season.
Right. I understand the concussions and stuff like that derailed his career a lot. Imagine if Sid doesn't get those concussions where he is today. He's it's a fun
top 10 in NHL scoring right now.
Yeah, it's a fun topic to actually dive into, and an interesting one because it's where would he be today if he didn't get concussed in that Winter Classic game or in the season before? Where would he be?
Even in other records, just think about some of the even just the extra 40 games he could have got when we didn't have the lockout shortened season.
Yep.
And you could say that with some other players too, who don't even have injury prone issues, going on a complete side tangent. Imagine if Alex Ovechkin had another season and a half to play because his rookie season was the lockout 04-05 and he never played. And he had the other half the season back in the lockout shortened one in the teens. He would probably be at Gretzky's record right now in goals, if not there. Just under it to break it this year.
Also the shortened COVID year too.
Yeah,
COVID, the one following COVID
that basically shortened 2 NHL seasons.
Yeah,
I want to first of all look into my eyes here. I'm declaring war on the Leafs fans right now. Okay, if you're a good Leafs fan, this is not for you. If you're Steve Dangle, you're a good Leafs fan, somebody like that, it's not for you. This is for you know who you are, Leafs fans. I've always been a supporter of the Leafs. Okay, this is for you, Leafs fans. You know who you are.
I'm gonna get attacked in the city.
The wrong Leafs fans.
This is where I'm plugging the Jimi Hendrix national anthem.
Hold on, I'm gonna go full big screen here for Chris. Chris, say your piece.
When Matthews Sundin left, that hurt, right? That really burned. Can't wait for Matthews to leave in 2 years. At least our captain will always play for us. you bunch of crybabies.
That looked amazing. I won't lie. Mr. Lawrence,
zoom in on his nose.
Oh, Mr. Lawrence, you're gonna love that one.
That's where I'm gonna plug in like a Jimi Hendrix version of the national anthem or something.
Oh my god!
I just want a bald eagle flying.
Just the screech thing.
No, you just see in 2 years, Austin Matthews signs a 10-year-long contract. No, sorry, you can't. 8-year-long. No, he can't still. 7-year-long contract in Arizona for like $13 million a year, and he'll play 2 years in Mullet Arena and then open up their brand new stadium in God knows where, Arizona. Because Gary's insistent that hockey works in Arizona.
Hey, at least the Mullet Arena will host the college playoffs this year for that team. I can't say the same thing about the Leafs Arena.
It's toxic.
I mean, they'll host a playoff series. Let's just see if they host more than 2 games.
Oh, that's a good one, Adam. That's a good one. I just can't wait for the jump cut scene. And even if the Penguins don't make playoffs, even if we lose, in my dreams I'm watching it, right? Watching Kyle Dubas, the little he does in the press box. So Austin Matthews looks lovingly off into the crowd, wondering where he went wrong, where he could have had an extra great skater next to him, but he decided he wanted to have his number 34 in his contract. Fuck you, Leafs fans. Anyway.
No. Here's the best thing that I can imagine. Kyle Dubas wins a Stanley Cup in Pittsburgh, and he pulls a Phil Kessel and brings the cup to Toronto.
He would on what I believe would happen. He would bring to the Sioux, which is
he'd bring it to Sioux. But he would make a trip through Toronto and take it through Toronto.
Let me
on his way to Sioux.
I'm gonna Google Maps this real quick. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you have to go through Toronto to get to the Sioux from Pittsburgh. So just give me 2 seconds. You guys keep talking amongst yourself.
He makes a stop at the Hockey Hall of Fame. He goes to Scotiabank.
He's going to have in the back, at least Kassoff. We're gonna have Jason Spezza riding shotgun.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't have to. Plan. He can go through Michigan or Detroit. He doesn't have to go.
He could.
But if he's feeling reckless, he can just drive north and go to Buffalo.
I want him to take the slowest roll past the Beaver Tails. That's right next to the Scotiabank Arena. Take the slowest drive. There's always traffic there of Leafs fans right after a loss. Take a drive past the Leafs victory circle, right down past the statues, right into the driveway of Scotiabank Arena. That's where I want him to go.
I get so much, again, because I'm the only Canadian on this podcast and I live in Toronto. I get so much flack because because of him coming to Pittsburgh, and I continuously tell people it was his wife. It was his wife that was the one that convinced him. She was the one that said, "Pick up the phone. Why not?" But everyone's like, no. He said he wasn't gonna do it. Then he went to Pittsburgh. He's like, he's just a terrible person. I'm like, and it's so funny to listen to because I hear it nonstop every single day.
For airing out dirty laundry to a presser right after he fired him, instead of taking responsibility for being a dog ass president of hockey ops. And I'm saying it now. Shanahan shouldn't be president of hockey ops.
I'll tell you what. I'll take FSG and Kyle Dubas over Brendan Shanahan and that Leafs front office any day.
I'll take over half the NHL over the Leafs front office.
And with no disrespect to Dr. Haley Wickenheiser, we got Amanda Kessel too. We got smarts in the game too. All right, our front office is phenomenal. So yeah. So after the Aerosol.
Anything else you want to touch on?
So war on the Leafs. I didn't think I'd be declaring war on Toronto today. Sorry, boys. Man, I love Toronto.
And our channel will get.
And hey, there's the title for the pod: declaring war on Toronto, or on the TO.
This is not me backtracking at all. You know I got love for the Six, but it's just and there are some phenomenal. Every Canadian I've ever met is phenomenal. It's just if you're a Leafs fan and you're that kind of Leafs fan, you know I'm talking to you.
Hey,
you're not a North fan.
I've said it once. I'll say it again. I love being Canadian.
I loved it. If you didn't watch our video show yet, to those of you listening, go watch our video show at 8-minute mark, and you'll see Zack covered by a Canadian flag.
Chris, I didn't realize I have power to make people's screens bigger on my thing, so I've just been doing that for certain points through the show.
Cannot wait to see this.
Hey, have fun.
Make some weird shit.
Okay, have fun.
I'm gonna get absolutely rolled online.
Oh yeah, your whole segment is just
only one in freaking phone view.
Yeah, you
We're
are
all
the only
using
one. You're the
these
only
two.
one that has it straight up. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Again, this is sidetrack. This is what we get to on Beacon. We just sidetrack nonstop. But I have the recording. I'm the one that sets up the recording. I have the cameras. Everybody's camera is perfectly like filled in the box, and you see Chris in the top corner, 2 gray boxes, and then his skinny phone camera.
He's making
so funny.
He's making us TikTok friendly so that we can have us on TikTok.
For real. His whole snippet is just gonna be on TikTok.
I'm gonna get plastered all over. Like, what's the guy? Shinsuke Sero's gonna rip me apart, and he's gonna say something stupid like he always is about the Leafs, and I'm gonna have to rebuttal it, aren't I? But I'm just taking a shot at everybody in Toronto today.
I don't know why. It's a peaceful city.
This dude has just woken up and chosen violence.
I was so happy with the Leafs off-season Trilla thing, and then I just get these idiot Leafs fans online just talking shit all season. No, you guys can't afford Erik Karlsson. You guys can't even afford the roster you have currently. Shut up. Anyways.
Oh, man.
The least violent, the most violent thing in Toronto, I will say, is their traffic. So,
oh my god, if that ain't the truth.
Dude, you should let me. Yeah, I know, because I drove in Toronto's traffic because I didn't let Chris drive me to save my life because he's bad enough in Wilkes-Barre driving.
You drove. I drive every day in this traffic. It is not fun.
I'll never forget when I went there with Adam for the first time and we cut off 4 lanes of traffic.
Hey, we did not cut off 4 lanes of traffic. There was a green arrow for a turn, and I was following it, and I was the 3rd car in line. Both cars flew through, so I just followed the flow, and like 5 cars blared their horn at me, and I'm like, what? Am I not supposed to turn on green like this? I don't know.
Hey, listen. So one thing I've learned, I love how this is derailed from hockey to just traffic in Toronto. One thing I've learned is that us Canadians, for some reason, and this is going to make me sound very fat, but for some reason we love biking. We have bike lanes almost on every single street, and as a driver, like I would honestly, if I was a biker and I lived in Toronto, I would love it because it's like your own little highway. You're just going. Nobody cuts in your lane. It's just you. But as a driver in Toronto, having those bike lanes, I hate it with a passion just because every road is a 1-lane road. And there's so much traffic. That's my little tangent about traffic in Toronto.
My opinion, my last on the tangent about traffic is that every Canadian I've ever met has been really nice because they feel like they need to be nice to you in person because they're such assholes driving on the road that they have to make up for it.
Everything about Canada is awesome. I love
Especially
Canada.
if they've got a Quebec license plate. Quebec license plates equals New Jersey license plates in America. Quebec is the New Jersey of of Canada's driving. That's it.
And I hate to generalize. Every Ontario driver is the worst fucking driver on earth. I have literally never met a good. I'm sorry, Toronto. I'm so sorry. Every Toronto, Ontario driver is the worst fucking driver on earth.
This is so funny. This is so funny.
It's like they put their key in the ignition. And they just decide to get in like one of those spinny chairs and hope for the best. I don't know what happens between the time you guys pass your test and the time you get in a car, but it's awful.
It's so funny because I think the same thing while living here.
It's a good thing that you guys have 4-lane highways because you need all 4 of them just to merge because they just think that's how it works. I don't know. I've now single-handedly declared war on the entire province of Ontario today.
Yeah, you just attacked Canada.
I've accidentally attacked Quebec too, but I stand by it. If you got a Quebec plate, chances are I think you're an asshole when you pass me on the highway.
That's nothing new. That happens here all the time.
It's whatever.
All right. Well, since we got a little off course, so
I love your money though. Anyway.
Okay, first out of the way. We got our Toronto heat out of the way. Happy birthday, Sidney Crosby.
Happy birthday, Sid.
Happy birthday,
Mr. Lawrence. Are you a fan?
A little bit.
I don't know what's giving it away.
Is that like a jersey on 3? I see that 3 in the background. Is that a Sidney Crosby bobblehead too?
It absolutely is. I think this is one. Yeah, this is one that actually does bobble too.
Oh boy,
I love that feel.
There's a second one, but it's in my workplace.
Oh yeah, boys. Because we got good old Tim Hortons here. I got a Sidney Crosby stick.
Ooh, look at that.
Love that for you.
It's time for Tim's, baby.
I purchased the 500 goal, 250 puck run of the Sidney Crosby goal.
Now, if can I stand this back up without it falling on my desk?
I own 0 Penguins merch because I'm the residential Avalanche fan.
So, with that said, My phone is at 10%, so let's get to trivia.
Woo! Let's do some. I didn't prepare.
Portrait mode just so that you don't have it plugged in, my guy. What a host.
Yeah, I didn't prepare anything, so I'm just here to answer. Let's get it going, boys.
All right.
Well, see, Adam, if you plugged it in, he'd have to turn it on its side.
And then it wouldn't be normal
You can
for
turn
him.
it upside down. It still inverts the camera if you turn it upside down.
I don't have a place to plug it in where I'm at. I have to walk with it. So, all right. So first, I'll go with this one. This former Avs player, who helped them win the Cup in 2001, is best known for having worn his uniform 25 hours after Game 7 ended.
Who is Joe Sakic?
Not Joe Sakic.
Oh shit! I've heard this one.
Is it a
No, I'm
big
thinking of a different
name?
player.
Is it a big name player?
Not really. He was good, not great.
really.
I thought about him my whole trip to Ohio. I had this guy's name in my head.
Why are you thinking about him all the way to Ohio?
It's an 8-hour bro.
Why would you go to Ohio?
Ohio.
I would declare war on Ohio. But
Can we stop declaring war?
Not today.
Oh, that's next episode. This was the war on Ontario. This was the war on Ontario. Next week is Ohio.
It's fine. The only person
That's
in
when I'll
Ohio
declare
is
war on
Joe
Ohio.
Burrow. The only person in Ohio is Joe Burrow and Johnny Hockey. It's all good. But God, who would have?
I need a guess.
Who's
Can
Patrick?
I have position at least, or is that going to give it away? Is a forward? Okay,
Did you say it was like their most recent cup or which cup?
21. Not 21.
21?
2001.
2000. Oh, okay.
2001.
You pulling out the
I need to
dictionary
take
over there, Chris?
I'm no good, buds.
I can tell you players on that squad. I have no idea who would do something like that.
All right. I'm gonna
guess. I'm gonna guess one defenseman. I know it's a forward. Duh. It's Adam Deadmarsh. Woo!
It's Stone Pody.
Oh yeah.
Yo, I know that guy.
Couldn't even tell you. He played
that guy.
Colorado. All right, cool. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, I got two more for us here. The popular Barstool Sports podcast Spit and Chicklets regularly hosts three former Penguins players. Who are they?
Albie Sinet.
Colby Armstrong? Or is he on something else?
Okay, so there's four. He's not a regular, but I'll give you Colby Armstrong. He's on a lot, but not usually as a host. So I'll give you four.
Whitney.
Whitney gets three. I need one more then.
God, I only know Ryan Whitney and
We're
Albie
going
Sinet.
deep into the files for this last one.
Listen, I hit with Colby Armstrong. That's the best I can do.
Files. Oh God, dude. I don't know.
I'm going to give it to you guys for the three because Colby's technically on a lot. It's Matt Murley.
I thought you were about to say Murray, and I'm like, wow, look at him go.
All right, my last question to Lance or Lang, while I have 7% left, is this former NHL player played in over 1,000 games and has the record for the most times being traded at 12, and is tied for the most times being traded at 9, which is a tie, and playing for the most teams, which is a record at 12. His son plays for one of his former teams in Columbus.
You know what? I got a hint on this one, and I can't remember because they just talked about a player who was traded 9 times on a bar down quiz I watched yesterday.
The player is young currently, like his son is young, and he's a good prospect.
Is he? Prospect. Okay, never mind.
He's like out of prospect. He's like, I think he played a full season last year. Maybe he's like 20 something, like maybe like 21.
I was gonna guess whoever Pierre-Luc Dubois' father was.
All right, so I'll love it. It's Cole Sillinger is the son, Mike Sillinger is the father. Mike Sillinger.
That name does ring a bell from that quiz I just referenced. I wouldn't have been able to guess it though, even if you had me a multiple choice.
Did anybody else have trivia? I know Lance had Lance or Lang potentially. I've
got a couple options for trivia. As long as you don't mind not being included for one or two of them, because I already asked you them when we were talking on Xbox.
You're good. I'm also going to hold
This first one, though, you can be involved in. So, this is one that's been popping up a lot, and I just like getting the fun facts on stuff, especially when you see players who, like, branch into decades. So, I don't know what channel it was, but I saw on one of my social media feeds a post of the most wins by goalies in the NHL by decade. So, just really rapid fire, because I know that this could be a really this could be a really long-winded question. If you guys don't get it in like 10 seconds or so, I'll have you go to the next decade. But let's go backwards. The 2020s. What goalie has the most wins? Regular season wins.
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky.
Okay.
Vasilevsky is correct with 122. Vasilevsky is correct at 122. Now the 2010s.
I want to go Fleury or Lundqvist. That would be my guess.
Carey Price.
Yeah, I'm going with Chris. I'm going with Price.
Marc-Andre Fleury.
I'm so smart.
322 in the 2010s
Let's go.
decade.
You said you were only counting regular season?
Yes, regular season wins. 2000s.
Martin Brodeur or...
Correct.
I'm the greatest of all time.
With 361, he actually holds the record for the most wins in a decade in the NHL with 361 wins in one decade.
All right, boys, this is all you. I got all the 2000s.
I'm gonna look stupid in the next couple decades, but I'm just gonna start saying names.
1990s.
Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh is correct with 309.
I'll keep going.
How about the 1980s?
Grant Fuhrer.
Nope, to both.
Okay, got one more go.
He played for the Blues.
Oh my God! Don't say it. Oh my God! What is his name?
I got my three.
He's one of the last goalies to use the traditional mask before they switched to cages.
Oh my God! It's not right. I'm gonna say Cujo.
Nope, it's Liat. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, forgive me. With 251 wins. Liut.
Mike Lute.
Lute. Anyway. All right, 1970s.
I wasn't even born.
None of us were born yet.
70s. Who was big in the 70s?
They are Hall of Famer. As a relative who was also a Hall of Famer.
What's his face? Oh my God. He played in Chicago. What's his face? Oh my God! Esposito.
Yes, it is Esposito with 308.
Yeah.
1960s.
All right, who was the Leafs goalie?
Oh my God.
It wasn't a Leaf. It
Really?
was a Blackhawk again.
Yeah, it's a Blackhawk. It's not Esposito though, is it?
Nope. Different Blackhawk.
That'd be insane.
2 decades? Yeah, imagine. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Ed Belfour?
Nope.
No, it's too early.
Any more guesses or no?
I was gonna say, wasn't Ed Belfour like 80s?
He was weird.
80s or
Belfour
90s?
was 80s or 90s.
I've been useless since I said Hasek for 2 decades.
Yeah, and he wasn't either.
Listen, I just love that I guessed Martin Brodeur and I got it. Okay, I'm so happy.
No, I don't know.
It's Hall.
Oh, Glenn Hall. I forgot.
Yep, it's Glenn Hall. And 1950s, because they didn't track the 40s.
Dark Plot?
Nope. Another Hall of Famer.
What's his face?
That narrows it
Detroit is your hint.
Yeah.
down. Well, it's not Gordie Howe.
Hold on.
Hey, now Gordie Howe was somebody who had the scoring title in multiple decades when I saw this
Yo,
earlier.
that's-
Yeah.
I'm already prepared for
Yeah.
next week.
What's his face? Oh my God, I can't think of his name.
Actually, one of the few Red Wings I actually really liked learning the history of because I hate Detroit because of Colorado.
Well, I know it's not Alex Nedeljkovic.
Not Ricky Vachon either. Oh my God, what's his name?
I'm going to say his name and you're going to hate me.
Yeah, say it.
It's Terry Sawchuk.
I could see his face, and I couldn't. I always
Terry Sawchuk with 307 wins.
I just couldn't come up with Terry Sawchuk.
Yeah.
What's your other trivia? Good question.
Yeah, let me pull it back up. And this is stuff I pull online, so like anyone can see this. There's a really easy one, and then I could do one more afterward.
Sure.
So here's an easy one. This upcoming season, Marc-Andre Fleury can become the 4th NHL goalie to play 1,000 career games in net. Who are the 3 who have done it so far?
Martin Brodeur.
Yes, he is. He actually has the most games played out of goalies with 1,266.
My guy.
Who are the
Lundqvist.
other 2?
Lundqvist?
Nope.
Esposito.
Nope.
Cujo.
Nope.
What were some of the ones we just listed off?
Recent one.
Both of them, I will give you a hint. Both of them played later than 2000.
Cam Ward?
No, all three are retired, though, yeah.
All three are retired.
Cam
All right.
Ward?
Nope.
Do not tell me. Hold on.
You know what? I'll go with it again. Third time's a charm. Dominic Hasek.
God damn it.
Wait, did you say they're all retired currently?
They are all currently retired goalies.
Okay, so we have
Marc-Andre
Martin
Fleury
Brodeur, right?
can be the fourth
Okay.
goalie to have 1,000 games played. He's at 985 right now.
What
All right, hang on.
about Tommy B? Tommy Barrasso.
Nope.
Don't go crazy. No, don't go crazy yet. Hang on. So Martin Brodeur,
Corey
Yep.
Crawford?
Nope.
Chris Osgood.
Nope.
Hang on.
I'm so offended you're not getting these two guys.
Patrick Wall?
Patrick Waugh is one of them.
Already. Did we not see him already?
No.
I didn't hear
No.
Patrick Waugh.
We did
If you
not.
said it. Patrick Waugh had 1,029 games played as a goalie.
Shout out to those 29 games.
This player had 1,044 games played as a goalie.
Mika Kiprusoff?
This player is number 2 on the all-time games played list for goaltenders.
Curtis Joseph?
I said Cujo and Belfour.
You guys are going to be so upset that you don't get this. I'm going to give you guys 2 more guesses.
Hang on. Okay.
He retired in the
That's doing
teens,
an
by the
obligatory
way.
twist and
That's your
jowie.
last hint. He retired in the teens.
Hard in the teens.
Yep. 20 teens.
I have a guess, but I don't know
All
if
right.
it'll be good.
When did Luongo retire?
Early or late? That's just to help me. Early or late?
I'm just saying teens.
So, okay.
All right,
Chris,
yeah.
Chris,
go with
I'm gonna go.
Luongo.
I'm looking at you. Okay, you can say Luongo, and I'll if you don't have another one after that, I'll say mine.
All right, Luongo.
It is long.
Okay. Mine was, for some reason, I was sitting on Craig Anderson.
Yeah, Marc-Andre Fleury sits 4th in all-time games started as a goal. Well, not started. Games played as a goalie with 985. Waugh has 1,029. Luongo 1,044. Martin Brodeur 1,266. It's not even close between Brodeur and Luongo. Granted, I keep forgetting Brodeur played in like 3 decades. So
What's your last one?
yeah, the last one. Oh God, where'd it go? I had like a short one. Oh yeah, this is one that I asked you, so you might not be able to play this one. So this is for Lance and for Zack. There are 5 people on this list that I'm looking for. It is a record of the 5 players with the most career playoff points before turning 23 in NHL history.
Not ask me this.
I 100% did. You can play it again if you really don't remember, but we did this.
Zach, I love how he's asking us a history question.
Yeah, I know. Like, I failed that
You
course.
will know. I know that you guys should know 4 of the players on this list. The 5th
Wayne
one,
Gretzky.
Yes, Wayne Gretzky is 2nd on the list in most playoff points before turning 23.
Guys,
he had 74 points.
I just want to say,
Crosby.
I'm on a heater right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Sidney Crosby does have the most points for a player before turning 23 in the playoffs. He had
I didn't know
82 points before turning 23. What's up, Chris?
Taves?
Nope. Your other 3 players, they had 62 points and a tie at 52.
Yager.
Yes, Yager is one of the people tied at 52 points.
Patty Kane?
So here's your list so far. Sidney Crosby at 1, Wayne Gretzky at 2. Yager is tied for 4th.
Malkin.
Malkin is on the list. He is 3rd with 62, and Patrick Kane is not on the list. Here's a hint. It's a Chicago Blackhawk.
Oh, okay. I didn't say anything.
Chicago Blackhawk.
Like, all time? Like just all time? Or, okay, like, you don't have to
He
narrow
was
it
not
down.
an all-time Chicago Blackhawk. He also played for Arizona, but all of his playoff stuff came in Chicago.
No, I meant, like all time being, like, in, like, the 1950s and, like, that era, or, like, more relevant.
This
That's what
is
I'm...
all. He played relatively recently.
Okay.
Not in the fact that Chris would definitely not
I know.
know him.
I know who it is.
Yeah.
I'll let them go.
Because you remember doing this, don't you?
No, I remember hearing this on a podcast. I've never once done this with you. I remember this on a podcast, though.
Oh.
I know who it is.
Who is it?
Jeremy Roenick.
Yes, it is. Jeremy Roenick is
I
tied with
wouldn't have
Yager.
got that.
52 points.
Yeah, I remember he talked about this in Spit and Chicklets because I remember him talking about being in Arizona and getting thrown out a window.
So my mind was like Marion Hossa, but like he's old.
When we were still trying to figure out,
he wanted it. I know, but I know Chris would know this one.
Yeah, when we were still trying to figure out some of the rest of the order, I was part of the reason it took me so long to answer is because I'm sitting here going, "What year was Malkin born? Son of a bitch."
Do you want one more really fast one before we do Lance or Lang?
Sure, one more quick one.
All right, I know that you know this one because we definitely did this one on Xbox. So for Lance and Zack, between the years of 1981 to 2001, there were only 3 players who were awarded the Art Ross. Who were they?
Lemieux, Yager, and Gretzky.
Yeah.
I was
literally just about to say, Adam, I didn't watch any of that hockey. I was only alive for like 5 years of it.
Yeah.
But no, I think I've seen that one around too.
Hey, I was alive. I was alive for 3 months of it.
Hey, I was alive for the last 3 years of that. I guess.
Just take that in, boys. I was born in July of 2020 or 2001.
I keep forgetting you're younger than me.
I was yeah. I was born for like 4 months of that season.
Are we? Did we get it?
Yeah. Chris got it like immediately.
Let's do a very quick game of Lance or Lang. Let's get 2 Lance or Langs.
Oh, just 2 of them.
Yeah.
I'll save them for the rest of the season.
All right, so I hate to break it, boys. There's really not a lot left on this list that I can say. Yeah.
Let's get one then. Save the other ones for.
Yeah.
Give me
all
one.
right. Well, no, we can still do 2, but the first one, and this should be fairly easy, is going through. Sure as God made little green apples.
That's got to be Mr. Chris Lance. Mr. Senior Lance.
I'm going
Lang.
I'm going Lang as well.
That is a Daddy Lance one.
Oh,
Remember this.
Daddy Lance Lager, if you will.
What's your last
And
one?
then the second one's going to be shave my face with a rusty razor.
That's Lang.
That's good old Lang.
Gotta be Lang.
I love that one since we do have Brian Rust. And then the last one I've got, I'm not going to make you guys guess this one, but we're going to be hearing it a lot this season. Elvis has just left the building.
That's Lang.
Good old Lang, baby.
All right.
You're hearing that because our top power play is going to be elite.
All right, boys. Well, that was a phenomenal episode. I'm glad we declared war on an entire province in Ohio.
Not on Ohio.
Didn't declare
Ohio. We previewed.
Ohio.
We previewed Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio, you're on thin fucking ice. I don't like my Babcock.
Determine which of your 3 cities that starts with a C is actually the real Ohio capital. Put all these sports teams in one of them.
Before we get kicked out of 2 countries here, thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe at the channels at the top of the show and give our off-season trivia show a watch on YouTube. Top of that, we'll be back next week with a brand new episode going around the horn and a little bit of a preview of the season. But, gentlemen, welcome back to Beacon Season 2, and what a way to kick it off. Like they say in Ohio,